Hello everyone, Shea at peddlerads.com. Want to welcome you to the newest edition of our video podcast, Down Home Discussions. We are brought to you by Commercial Bank and the Board of Public Utilities. In this episode, I interviewed the Henry County Mayor, John Penn Ridgeway. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to Down Home Discussions. I'm your host, Shea Castleberry. We are sponsored by Commercial Bank and BPU, so I want to give a shout out to them, thank them for sponsoring us. Today I have the privilege to be talking with Henry County Mayor John Penn Ridgeway. So welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, buddy.
How are you
Appreciate
today?
it. I'm doing great, man.
Yes.
Doing great.
Good. Of course, we grew up together.
Absolutely.
I've known you for many, many years.
Long time.
But, well, you don't have to say that.
That's not been
But
that long.
not everybody knows you or knows your history,
Sure.
so we just wanted to sit down with you kind
Sure.
of today and talk about stuff like that. So I guess starting out, if you don't mind, just tell us who you are, your family history, the
Okay.
Ridgeway name is
Sure.
a legacy name.
So I'm John Penn Ridgeway. I think we're fifth generation Henry Countyans. I believe that's correct. Come from the family of the funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was Don Ridgeway. Don was state representative in Henry County for a lot of years, chairman of the school board. My uncle's Leon Ridgeway. Everybody knows my uncle Leon from the funeral home. He's 80 plus years old and still works every day. I grew up working in the funeral business as a younger age. Went off to the University of Tennessee at Martin and got a degree in public administration. Thought I wanted to be a city manager, into that type of work. But I've worked in a lot of different aspects in government entities, in education as well. But a little bit more about my family. I'm married. My wife Melissa is the guidance counselor at Paris Elementary School. More people probably know her than know me, but she's got a passion for working with the youth of this community. I have two boys, two excellent boys. Walker, who's 21, who's a student at the University of Memphis studying in engineering technology. Played sports throughout, and I coached most of his sports. My younger son, Jackson, is 16 years old. He's a sophomore at Henry County High School. Loves to hunt and fish, and he's an avid golfer, plays on the golf team, loves to play golf. My wife and I met while we were in college at UT Martin. She's originally from Dyersburg, but when they were in high school, transplanted to Jackson, Tennessee, so West Tennessee in the bloodlines. I've lived in Henry County all my adult life, all my youth life, except for the time I was in college. I've also had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. before and work up there for a short time. Was not fond of that per se, but that was a good experience. Worked with Southwest Tennessee Development District, worked with the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development, and for the last 13 and a half years before becoming county mayor, worked with the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at McKinsey.
So you've done a lot.
I've done a lot of things for a young guy.
Well, what interested me when we were kids, your dad came and talked to us a few times. And of course, as a kid, I didn't know anything about politics. Right. All I knew was John Penn's dad's famous. We've got a famous person come to talk to us. But you kind of grew up in politics,
I did.
So was being mayor on your list of things you wanted to do, or did that just happen recently?
In the last few years, Shay, I always wanted to be in public service. I always enjoyed that, but I didn't want to be in politics. Right. I didn't want to go to Nashville. I always wanted to be in Henry County. This is home. I went to school to be, like I said, in city government or in government relations or something like that, but never with the full thought of, hey, I want to go and pass bills and change things. I'm more about working with people and trying to help them through this. So probably in about the last 8 or 10 years, I was looking at running in 2022. I had talked to Mayor Greer At that point, my youngest son would be a senior in high school. My oldest, I would hope, would be out of college. I would have more time and still have a lot of energy and passion to give. With Mayor Greer deciding to get out of office a little bit early and retire, it kind of sped up my timeline a little bit. So, and I haven't looked back since July. Right. Since that's all happened, it's kind of been a whirlwind with working a job, running for an office, winning an office, and now learning everything I can and immerse myself in being the county mayor. It's hard to get used to being called, hey, there's the mayor if I go in a restaurant. My name's John Penn. It's always been that, and you know me, so when they say the mayor or Mr. Mayor, I don't know that I'll get used to that. It's about people here. Somebody said, oh, I see you all over doing all kinds of things. Well, I'm trying to learn everything that's involved in being the mayor and presiding and fighting for the folks here in Henry County, because you've lived here pretty much with this. When you went off into the service, this has been home. We care about it. We're passionate about it, and we want it to be the best that it can be. Amen. And so that's why I ran.
Amen. That's awesome. So you talk about kind of learning things, being everywhere.
Sure.
We know you've got a lot of plans, and we've seen a lot of those plans here in Paris, and a lot of the focus is always on Paris. Sure. What kind of development plans do you have for outside of the city limits?
So I just got off a Zoom call with the folks at ECD, Economic and Community Development, our regional folks, about some rural development opportunities outside of what you call Paris. Right. Because, Henry County's blessed that we're kind of unified, where some of our other counties around us, but everybody says, oh, it's Paris and Henry County. But you've got to think about Puryear, you've got to think about Henry, Cottage Grove, our lake area. We've got a lot of tourism things going on right now down at the lake to help grow with that. Some of the things I can't talk about yet because they're not out. We've also got some prospects that are coming in to the county and looking outside of what I would call the Paris industrial footprint. Nice. So we're looking at some different things like that. Rural broadband is a big thing that I've been working on to get. So we've got about 10,000 residents in Henry County, or 10,000 households that are either underserved or unserved with what we call broadband. So probably one of the biggest things in the first 3.5, 4 months I've spent doing is immersing myself in rural broadband. How do we get it funded? We've been in Nashville working on trying to get some legislation to help us with that. It's a cost. It's cost beneficial, and there's some cost involved. But hopefully in the next couple of months we'll have an expansion to our rural broadband in Henry County. Right now, can't tell exactly where we're going to be going and things like that. It was my sincere hope that we would be able to get Henry County in the next year to 3 years where every resident's got access to rural broadband, possibility of 1 gig down, 1 gig upload and download speeds if they so choose. We've got 2 companies that provide the service outside of Charter and Spectrum in the city of Paris that want to work with the county, and that's Tech down in the southern part of the county, or TEC, and then we have West Kentucky Rural Telephone that's in the northern part that's running towards the lake. A lot of that's grant opportunities. We've been fortunate in receiving grants, so that has so much to do with the growth and keeping us at a competitive advantage, rural broadband. So that's been one of the biggest things that I've worked on. The second biggest thing that we continue to work on is right outside the door here. It's 641 expansion. Had a meeting this morning with a gentleman from out of one of our senators, U.S. Senator's office, trying to help us with a build grant, a 641 build grant, which would allow us to get some federal dollars to help make this become a full 4-lane or 5-lane highway. Right now with TDOT, we're continuing to work through some of that. Everybody that goes up towards Murray seeing that they're expanding outside of Murray, going towards Hazel.
Right.
Of course, we're still in the process of finishing this up past the bowling alley and farther on up. So 641 is another big issue that just continue to push forward for this county. Absolutely.
Well, I knew the broadband was a big deal for you. I remember when you were campaigning, you really pushed that, and that's a good thing, especially with more kids learning at home now. That not having internet access can hurt, so it's good to know that you are working toward helping.
We have folks call my office every week that are looking at buying housing in Henry County, and they want to know where they're at. And right now the map is all over the place. You might live one place, I might live 400 or 500 feet from you. You might have it, and I don't.
Yes.
The state's fixing to pour hopefully another $200 million into rural broadband expansion into Tennessee, and you can guarantee that Henry County will be fighting for their fair share of that.
Yeah, you heard that here. So you mentioned earlier that you had looked at running in 2022, but ran early. So can we assume that in 2 years you will run again if you are opposed? That is. So.
Well, it's my full intent to run for re-election in 2022. If the residents of Henry County think I'm doing a good job and will support me, I'd be honored to serve in the position. It's a challenge every day, but it's one I get up and I'm excited about. I don't know an 8 to 5 hours or anything in that. It's calls come at this time, but we're diligently pushing forward to work for every resident in Henry County. I don't want to come off sounding like a politician because you said my dad. It's public service to me. It's always been about Shea is Shea, and if I see Shea, I'm gonna treat him the same if I've seen him wherever, and that's how you're just supposed to do. And in a small rural area like this, we know everybody. This is home. We wouldn't want to be anywhere else. We just want to make sure that we're getting our fair share for this county, and we're able to do and prosper and live the quality of life that we want to. So
that sounds excellent. Personally, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in today. Is there anything else you would like to say to the folks?
No, I just want to thank you and John for this opportunity to come out and be here, and giving me this opportunity to talk to the folks. Social media is so important. It was important to me during the campaign. That was one thing running the campaign. I grew up, if you're going to run, you go and you shake somebody's hand, you look them in the eye. I had been not gone from Henry County for 13 years, but it took me out of the county during the day, so it was hard not to be able to go out and shake people's hand. I hope to be able to do that. We're still managing through everything, but it looks like we're getting in better shape. We've got some big announcements coming up in the future. We've got Fish Fry coming up next week, which I'm excited about. I think there'll be a lot of fish plates sold, and I think there'll be a lot of people riding carnival rides.
Yes.
I will not. Will you ride carnival?
I'm a little too old.
I don't ride the carnival.
I'll let the
rides
youngsters, handle that for
anymore.
me.
We used to ride.
We did.
Not anymore. So.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Mayor John Penn. Whatever you call him, this is him, and we appreciate you coming in today.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. Appreciate.